Guys, what's up? Welcome back here to another edition of Intuitive Angling. Really appreciate you guys making some time to watch the video. Definitely, I would never take that for granted. And today we're going to give you guys some tips and advice on getting confidence in catching bass on a jig, because one of the number one questions I get here on the channel is that I just don't have confidence in the jig, or I don't know what I'm doing, or I just don't get many bites on the jig. So we're going to get into that in detail here. So also, real quick, wanted to give you guys the daily or every other day reminder. Please, if you haven't had a chance, check out our View Products section, our View Products tab, shopping tab, which is right at the bottom of the screen on the video. It says View Products there. Click on that. It's 30 products I think you guys might be interested in checking out. And if you just click on one of the products, no obligation to buy anything. It's a good way to help the channel out. We get a small percentage of that. Much appreciated. Okay guys, confidence on jigs. Now, this is a preface, this video, because tomorrow or the next day, I'm going to do my next hour-long seminar, and it's going to be on jig fishing. It's going to be the most comprehensive jig YouTube video you've ever seen. I'm going to cover everything about jig fishing. It's going to be just full of 50 years of knowledge I've got on jig fishing, and you're going to come away from it knowing a lot about jigs after you see this hour-long seminar on it. But I'm going to sort of give you guys a little appetizer today and talk about why people struggle with jigs. The first thing, the reason I think a lot of people struggle with jigs is they don't really understand, or they can't really wrap their brain or their mind around what it's like to feel a bite on a jig. And there's not much difference, guys. If you've caught fish on a Texas rig creature bait or Texas rig worm or lizard, you can catch fish on a jig because it's the same thing. The type of cover you fish it in is the same. The way it feels when a bass bites it is the same. And the way you work it is very similar. There's very little daylight between a Texas rig and a jig. So that should take some intimidation factor away from you right off the bat. The number one reason, though, and I want to talk about in this video why people struggle to get bit on a jig, is they don't understand how to set their jigs up as far as the color of the jig, with the trailer, and with the line size and the weight of the jig, all that combination together. And we're going to go into this in detail on the seminar, but I want to give you sort of just a little juicy foundation here leading up to it. First of all, the thing that you have to realize is you have to understand or learn how to use the right color of jig. Color of a jig is the number one thing as far as getting bit on it. And second behind that is the size of the jig. But the color of the jig, you need to match the water clarity. Not only the water clarity, but the sky condition. In general, what you have to do is, if you've got water visibility of, say, less than 12 inches, you got to go dark to something like a black and blue or a black and chartreuse. You're not going to get many bites on the lighter colors. And as the water clarity increases above like 15 inches in clarity, that's when you have to gradually transition into different colors. You're talking about your browns, your greens, some of your combinations like your black and like your brown and orange or something like that. For example, I'll use an example here, guys. This is the Blockit Old School jig, brown and orange, and I've got a blue Zoom Super Chunk on it. This is a color I catch a ton of bass on in the fall if the water visibility is like 3 foot clarity. This is just an example of setting it up right. By the way, you can get these at Baitworks. I'll include the link in the description there. Got a good selection of them. But in 3 foot clarity, this combination, it does something that what I call, it blends in, yet it stands out a little bit at the same time. That's what you're looking for in there. And like I said, stay tuned for the seminar because we're going to get into this in detail. But in general, the clearer the water goes, the more opaque and the more translucent the colors your jigs need to go. Like I said, into the browns, into the greens, into the matching trailers that correspond with that. Now, I think that, a lot of people, like I said, they're limited in their jig selection. It's like, same with jerk baits. I see a lot of people that have like 1 or 2 colors of jerk baits. It's the same with jigs. I'll see people that's got 1 or 2 colors of jigs. But guys, you have to learn how to create your own jig colors, match them, and get the right color to match that water clarity and sky condition, which we're going to go into a little bit more. So that's the number one thing, guys. If you're struggling with getting bit on a jig, one of the best things that you can do is just experiment with your colors until you hit on the right color combination, and then we'll get more into the trailer and the seminar here. Another thing with that'll help you get more bites on a jig is you work a jig you can catch fish on a jig working it like a Texas rig, but more than not, you're going to catch more fish on a jig if you sort of snap it and hop it off the bottom, sort of try to get that reaction strike a little bit. That to me generates more strikes from a bass, especially from bigger bass. And the next thing to remember, guys, is you have to realize that when you go to a jig, you're simply not going to get as many bites as you will with a Texas rig. There's something about it. It takes a little bit more of a commitment out of the bass because it's a little bit bulkier than Texas rig. So you have to readjust your mindset to say, for example, if you get 20 bites a day on a Texas rig, you may go back into that same water with a jig and get 5 or 6 bites. But those 5 or 6 bites that you get on the jig are going to weigh anywhere between a half a pound to 2 pounds larger per bass than on the Texas rig. It's a quality fish deal. And then, like I said in the seminar, we'll go over different things like finesse jigs and larger size jigs. But that's just an overall thing, guys. If I can leave you with this little short video more than anything else, is learn to come up with the right color for your water clarity conditions and your sky conditions. And like I said, stay tuned for that seminar day after tomorrow or the next day, because we're going to dig into this in a real deep level, and you'll come away with it with a lot better understanding. So anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in. Much appreciated, and we'll see y'all later.